Welcome back to another episode of Critical Misses, the end of season 5. Sorry, end of season 12. This is episode 5. We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch the big one. I'm your host, Boston.
Well,
Joining me as
the
always is
small big
Moonbeer.
one.
Yeah,
Aye.
the shorter big one. The movie this season has been motoring towards, for better or for worse.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna watch Justice League, 2017's Justice League, not Zack Snyder's Justice League. Even though this was directed by Zack Snyder,
Uh,
it was directed by his alter ego with a goatee, Jack Snyder.
yes and no. This is
Right.
yeah.
So
This is a complicated one.
yeah, I feel like if any of these movies is truly famous and infamous at the same time, it's probably this one, and probably has.
Uh-huh.
We could probably talk for like 2.5 hours about just the history of this movie that as we know it. Um, but to say that it had kind of a fraught development is probably putting it pretty lightly. Um,
Uh-huh.
and wasn't received super well when it was released, and I feel like as soon as the Snyder Cut stuff came out, the reception of it was even worse. Um, so, where I don't know. Where do we start?
Well, we'll start where we normally start, which we
Okay.
have a pretty good idea of, because we normally start with the cast.
Okay. Yeah, this is I feel like this is there's probably one big question here, but I
Uh-huh.
feel like with this being Justice League, you probably see everybody from the movies before. So I feel like we have Ben Affleck as Batman,
Uh-huh.
Gal Gadot, 99.9% chance of her coming back after just being in Wonder Woman.
Uh-huh.
We got Jason Momoa as Aquaman, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's it. Correct. That is one that we haven't seen the movie for yet.
Right.
Stay tuned for DCEU Season 2
Right.
in 3 years.
We saw him like for 30 seconds in Batman v Superman, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
Ezra Miller plays Flash.
Noise.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh man, and Ray someone is Cyborg. I don't remember his last name.
I'll let me grab it here. Ray Fisher is
Ray
Cyborg.
Fisher. Right, because part of the thing I remember with Ray Fisher is I believe one of the criticisms was, hey, this dude is good and he's not in this movie at all. And the 2021 cut sort of features more of him. I think people were like, yeah, he's good. We were right. Um,
You're kind of missing someone huge here, by the way.
so here's my thing. I don't
Uh-huh.
I don't know if Henry Cavill shows up in this one, because I feel like if Superman's gonna come back, it's probably for this one. Um, and when I was sitting here thinking about how to talk about Justice League before we started recording this stuff,
Uh-huh.
that was probably one of the most surprising pieces of osmosis that I don't have, which is he either shows up in this movie or he definitely doesn't. I genuinely have no idea.
Good. I'm glad. Because
Okay.
as far as you're concerned, what is the current issue with Superman?
That he's totally dead. He's all the way dead. Well, he's all the way comic book dead, so,
Yes.
like,
That could mean anything.
Yeah, so I feel like when you look at comics and the cartoons and stuff like that, the things from the Justice League that I've seen, obviously we don't have Martian Manhunter, who I feel like is kind of a pillar of the Justice League in other media, but we haven't even gotten to 3 of the Justice League members before this movie, so we're not getting Martian Manhunter. But
Yep,
I feel
which
like,
is unfortunate because he's a character well worth looking into.
yeah, he's cool. I mean, hopefully he'll be in something at some point. Get
Uh-huh.
that dude who plays it in Supergirl, the TV show. He's great. Um,
And funnily enough, the Smallville actor was also incredible as Martian
mm,
Manhunter.
right. And I feel like Superman is one of those kind of pillars of the Justice League. So I feel like
Uh-huh.
if you're going to make this movie and bring him back, instead of you bring him back here instead of having another Superman movie, which you probably could have had in the meantime, but you know,
Yeah, probably more than likely, but he's been a little bit distracted by the Witcherisms of his
yeah.
career.
Oh, God, The Witcher's so good.
I still need to watch that show. I'm aware it's
Yeah.
meant to be incredible. Um, so we're not sure about Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Good job on remembering the Flash actor's name, by the way.
Thank you. He has a cool name, Ezra Miller. Like that's a cool name.
Uh-huh. So minor spoilers here.
Sure.
Not for this movie particularly, but kind of. He never gets named in this movie.
He never gets named as the Flash.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And not
He's the
once,
fast guy.
yes, not
Yeah.
once when he has shown up, I believe, has he ever been called the Flash.
Okay.
This is where the spoilers come in for the Arrowverse TV show Multiverse of Madness crossover kind of thing that they do.
Right.
Ezra Miller shows up
Great.
and meets the Flash.
Uh-huh.
And the Flash says, "Wait, I'm the Flash. Who are you?" He's like, "The Flash."
Like that's a pretty good name, man. Wink.
That's where he gets his name from in
That's
this
cool.
canonical world kind of
Man,
thing.
Arrowverse stuff is so good.
Uh-huh.
If we had infinite time, we'd be also doing an Arrowverse watch show, but please no
Yes.
one asked for that. That's an impossibility. Unless you have
No.
very
And
rich friends who's willing to uh, pay our
Patreon
salaries.
for $1 million. Dollars.
That's right. Patreon.com/E1M1. Okay, well that's interesting. That's a little that's interesting. That's a little bit
Uh-huh.
of a weird thing, but I feel like that's kind of the downside here of
He hasn't had
oh,
his own movie yet.
yeah, like only one of the people, only one of like the 5 people that we talked sort of removing Superman has had their own movie. Because it's
Uh-huh.
just Superman and Wonder Woman. Like Batman didn't even get his own movie. It was Batman v Superman. So
The Superman, yeah.
right. So it's a little weird, especially in kind of the post MCU Phase 1, Phase 2 world where it's like, yeah, this person gets his own movie and then they show up with the Avengers. Yay! You know, like the formula was already fairly stable at this point.
Yeah.
So, and I like The Flash. It's a bummer we haven't seen his movie yet. Still in
That is true.
2022.
Yeah. I know I think they've wrapped production. I think it's just in post-production now. So
Sure.
stay tuned for DCEU Season 3 in 17 years.
Right. We'll start that when the Flash movie comes out.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we know we've gone through the actors. Music is, I think it's a Zimmer special, just so you know.
I just looked it up. It's Danny Elfman, who I
Oh,
love.
it's Elfman special. Okay.
That was my question. Is like, man, are you gonna bring back Hans Zimmer? Hans Zimmer is fine, but his scores are largely the same. You probably leverage the same criticism against Elfman a little bit, but he's not as. I feel like he's not attached to like prestige movies in the last couple of years, so it's not like, oh, here we go with Danny Elfman,
Yeah.
which I guess is good.
So, who's the villain, Boston?
I was waiting for you to ask this question. I have no idea. I feel like. So here's the weird thing. They already did Doomsday in Batman v Superman. So for me, as someone who was born in the early 80s, so the 90s was like my comic love period.
Yeah.
The death of Superman was like such a huge comic event
Hmm.
during that time. That, like, for me, Doomsday seems like that would be a perfect villain for a Justice League movie. Um,
Yeah.
my my only other thing I could think is maybe Steppenwolf. Since we
Okay.
saw him in the whatever version of Batman v Superman we saw, I don't know if he was in the original cut. I don't remember.
The Ultimate Edition, and I'm pretty sure he was in the original version.
Oh, okay. So that's probably of anyone we have seen on screen so far.
Hmm.
My guess would be Steppenwolf. Also, because I want to see him because he looks super. I'm a sucker for Steppenwolf. Like that design
I
looks
think,
like something out of Heavy Metal magazine. Like he looks so cool.
like, I'm not gonna lie. The funny thing is you are literally the only, because I'm not in touch with the DC Comics verse. Like,
Yeah, me
I,
neither.
I, I follow a couple of people on Twitter who are DC Comics fans, but not once have I ever heard anybody say, "Yo, Steppenwolf is sick."
Number one Steppenwolf fan right here. The band
It's like
and the
you're
comic book.
literally the only person I've heard say, "Yeah, Steppenwolf is cool."
That's on brand for me. Everyone hates this thing. It's my favorite one. Um,
Hmm.
yes, that's the only one that I can think of that we have seen in the films before. If it's someone that we haven't seen, like you just said, I'm not super well versed in the DC stuff. Like I'm barely any more versed in the Marvel stuff. So I would have no idea
Well,
who the
don't
villain would
forget
be.
in the Batman v Superman dream sequence, there was the big Omega symbol burned on the floor, which unless you pause and freeze frame, you don't get to
Yeah,
see it,
yeah,
which
that's
is
true.
Darkseid.
Dark Side, right, right, right. I forgot that's a guy. I mean, there's also the. I feel like I would have heard if this would have been the case. I guess it could also be bad Superman. Like he's back and he's evil. Like
Evil
the dark
Bizarro.
future. No, not even Bizarro, but like the dark future injustice Superman.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, have
Which I'm
him.
so excited for that movie, by the way, that animated
Oh,
movie.
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, other than that, I have no idea, which is
So
kind of exciting.
Steppenwolf, Darkseid potentially,
Sure, Bad
and Bad
Superman,
Superman.
right? The sequel to Bad Santa, Bad Superman. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So what about Lex?
yeah, that's a good question. Um, I don't know. I feel like I after seeing Batman v Superman, I'm not sure if they're gonna go with him as like the main bad guy. I feel like he might escape from prison or be let out by whoever he's going to pull the strings of, or vice
Okay.
versa, maybe. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I would like to see him in more of it, surprisingly, after Batman v Superman, just to see kind of where that goes, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see like a quick minute or two of him in this, but I don't think he's going to be the focus.
Okay. Now we know we're gonna see the big names. Do you think we see the cast of side characters from each of these movies?
Hmm. I guess that depends on how this movie gets all of them together. Because is it going to be like, well, I guess Chris Pine is quote unquote dead in at
Uh-huh.
the end of Wonder Woman, so it's sort of like, do we see this collection of people saying like putting the backpack on them and sending them off to school? It's like, all right, have fun, Aquaman. There you go, Cyborg. Let's go to the JLA. Like let's do this thing. Um,
Uh-huh.
or is it kind of Wonder Woman gotta catch them all? So I guess Wonder Woman and Batman probably gathering up all these people and saying like, we gotta fight insert bad guy here. We can only through the power of friendship can we defeat Frieza. That sort of thing.
So even if we don't get a Superman, though, do you think we get a Lois Lane?
um, I'm gonna say I don't know. I would like to, but she's so underutilized in this movie, in any of these movies, that either we don't, or we get her like looking sad in the Daily Planet, being like, "Oh, Clark,
Or
oh,
maybe like laying flowers at the memorial kind of thing?
oh God, yeah. It's been 3 years since Clark left us. Boo. Like,
Yeah. What was it? If you want to see his statue look around you, kind of thing. If you see
mm-hmm.
his monument look
Yeah,
around you.
that was a pretty cool line, though. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like as much as I want, who plays Lois? Amy Adams.
Uh-huh.
As much as I would like her to be in these movies more, I feel like that's not a bet I'm willing to take.
Do we get Jeremy Irons,
Oh man,
who was
please,
Alfred?
please, just give me like a Jeremy Irons solo movie of him like hacking stuff in the Batcave, and then just getting some sort of call from Bruce and being like, "I need help," and he's just like, "Oh God," I was right in the middle of work. Fine, fine, fine. I'll bail you
Uh-huh.
out, you jerk.
Okay, so you're hoping for Jeremy Irons. We don't know
I'd love it.
about Lois Lane.
Yeah,
We've seen a snippet of Cyborg's dad, but that's pretty much it so far.
right.
Um, Oh, does Ares return?
Mm, probably not. I feel like if he's gonna return, that might be one of the things for the next Wonder Woman movie, where it's like Ares is back and it's Kristen Wiig, like like it's
Uh-huh.
Ares' spirit in a new body, that sort of thing. But I don't think we see. Unfortunately, I don't think we see that Ares actor back as much as I like him.
Okay, okay. Queen Hippolytia or Hippolytia or whatever her name is.
I feel like probably not a lot of Wonder Woman stuff because we just got that
That
in the
movie.
last movie. So I feel like I feel like if they're going to focus on Wonder Woman, it's probably going to be her convincing Batman and maybe kind of both of them at the same time to kind of get the crew together, a precision driving team to take down whatever bad guy they have in this movie. So I feel like it's more modern day Wonder Woman facing the Thing that we'll talk about
Okay.
in part two.
Because I mean, after all, Bruce did send her a glass photo frame that said, "Where have you been?" Question
That's right.
mark. Um,
And
because now
in
he knows that she's been around since World War One.
right, and there was the sort of mid credit stinger from Suicide Squad with Bruce Wayne and director
Oh,
what's her face saying like
um,
I get some friends.
why can I not remember her name?
Amanda Waller, there it is.
Thank you.
I needed a minute. But yeah, like
Do we see any of the squad?
probably not. I feel like the if we see them probably in the 2021 cut, but I feel like if you're going in and you're editing a Justice League movie, I feel like you cut all of them with how negative that reaction was. I don't
Mhm.
even I don't think you put any of maybe Harley, like bothering Batman, but other than that, I think you stay as far away from that as you can.
Okay, okay. So we're not doing too bad here. I will say right off the bat, I love Wonder Woman. Number one, the
Yep,
movie and the character.
yep,
I do think
ditto.
they've got the perfect cast in Gal Gadot
Mm-hmm.
in that role. Um, I will say right off the bat, my favorite part of this movie happens within the first 10 minutes or so.
Great. Okay.
My second favorite part of the movie happens about halfway through.
Okay.
Um, and then those are both quote unquote, stop me if you've heard it before this season, moments.
Mm. With a
This
capital
movie,
M.
yes, or as I put in my show notes when I'm writing notes about this kind of stuff, all capitals, because I want
Mm.
to make
Oh.
sure I call out those things specifically as, holy crap, this is amazing.
Right.
And this movie does have moments. I don't know how many moments it has, but it definitely has some of those things where it's like, if I was so inclined, stand up and cheer in the movie theater kind of thing.
And I feel like when you're going to put together an ensemble cast like this, but you have ostensibly been kind of directing these movies towards, I mean, you got to have a moment like that. You know, like you got to have at least one of the like the portals are opening and all the multiverse heroes are coming through. Wink. Like that
Which I'm
sort
sorry,
of.
but cheesy as it may be, and as much as people may have turned on that moment, I don't care. That's one of the best moments in
Oh,
cinematic history, period.
look, I haven't seen that movie. Even I know how cool that scene is. If you're gonna turn on that scene, like, come on, stop being too cool for school. Like, just
It's like, yes, we all knew it was going to happen, but guess what? That doesn't bloody matter. It's
it's
still
dope as hell,
incredible.
man. Like, yeah, um, yeah. I would hope that there would be at least a couple of those moments. My other hope is I liked how I think one of the things we talked about in Wonder Woman is how fun the movie is. Like how not only how much fun we had watching it, but it it wasn't so hyper serious about everything. Like it was having a good time and it was well written to have that kind of fun time. And we saw that a little bit in Batman v Superman where Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman are all fighting together and there's a little bit of that kind of fun. There's no like looking at the camera and like that happened, that sort of thing. But there, I hope we see some of that in this movie, especially as we're starting to get all these heroes together that haven't worked with each other. Like, to me, that's a really kind of ripe time to have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah. So there is one big elephant in the room here that I haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
And I'm going to refer to this, and I don't actually even know if you know about this or not.
Hmm.
I'm going to refer to this as Mustache Gate.
I do. I do know Mustache Gate. I know two things about Henry Cavill. Well, three things. One, he's legally attractive. Putting it aside, um, the like loading his fists gif you always see from a Mission Impossible movie. Um, no,
The
the one
Roman
where he's like
Reigns.
punching to the floor, like 1-2, like that sort of. You know it if you've seen it. It's also a Destiny 2 emote, which is really good. But then
We'll
Mustache
find a way
Gate.
to talk about Destiny 2 in this
There's
podcast, of
never a
course.
better time. But I remember that being one of the things where, and I couldn't remember what movie it was for, but I remember he was off shooting something. It might be that Mission Impossible movie if
It
he's in.
is.
Okay, he
It
had a
100% is.
mustache. He had a glorious mustache for that movie. And when he
Uh-huh.
needed to do pickup shots for, I'm assuming this, um,
Yep.
that he was doing both at the same time. So they're like, "You need to shave your mustache," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't think you understand how mustache growing works. I can't do that and then like next week go be in Mission Impossible. Like, I can't
Uh-huh.
do both things." So they CG'd out his mustache, which uh, has a thing.
It wasn't it wasn't great. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
pretty sure the opening, minor spoilers, the opening of this movie opens with a found footage Superman like pre his death,
sure.
like talking to a fan kind of thing. And it's literally right in the first shot is Superman's CG'd mustache.
Oh no. Yeah,
So
it's It
Get
has to
ready.
be that. It just has to be so hard. Like that's the thing. I feel like that's been one of the enduring. It was going to be the enduring legacy of this movie until the hashtag on Twitter of release the Snyder
Mhm.
Cut. I was not even going to name it, but I feel like historically people might not know what we're talking about. But I feel
No, they'll
like,
know because they will keep banging on about this forever.
yeah. But I feel like that was one of the issues with this movie is there were always reshoots, there were always pickup shoots, there was always like, oh, we're gonna delay it 6 more months because we gotta like shoot these other couple scenes and we gotta bring this dude back and Gal Gadot's on a plane from wherever she's doing this other thing and like it seemed like it was just in production, not even post production, but like in production forever. Um, so
Mhm. There's a couple more things that I want to bring to your attention before you see the movie, but actually, on
okay,
second thoughts, I'm going to wait because there's one particular thing which genuinely bothered me a lot
okay,
about this movie. Um, and I can't really talk about it without giving pretty big spoilers. So I'm going to make a
sure,
note for myself to talk about it on the post movie version of the show,
okay,
because it's something that's I don't understand why it was done other than for a specific reason. And if you notice it, I did. I will admit, hand on heart, I didn't notice it when I first saw the movie, but I wasn't paying that much attention to it.
mm-hmm.
But then someone pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh, now I cannot not see it."
It's like the arrow in the FedEx logo where it's like, great, now I'm just see that for the
Uh-huh.
rest of my life. Okay.
Or the A to Z smiley face in Amazon
Right,
thing.
right, right.
Like, yeah, it's that thing.
Okay,
But I'm not going to mention it, and then we'll see if you catch it, and
sure.
then if you do, great. If you don't, I'm going to point it out to you, and you're going to hate me for
That's
it.
fair. You gotta pass on the virus to the next person. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Any final notes here before we go watch it?
Oh boy, it's been a while since I've seen this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I genuinely am because I feel like if anything, as part of this show, sort of our unspoken ethos is to kind of find the good parts of the movies where we can. We're not
Uh-huh.
like brain poison like Cinema Sins or anything. So I feel like we try to find the positives here, and I feel like we found the positives in virtually every movie we've watched, and I'm hoping there's some good stuff to mine out of this one.
Yeah, I do believe there is because there like I hate to say this, but like every now and again, I have a series of clips that I continually watch on YouTube, like
Oh sure,
snippets of movies or TV shows that are just wonderful moments in those
you get
things.
that little dopamine hit, and you're like, all right, now I feel a little better.
Exactly, and if you
Right.
followed me on Twitter for any length of time, I can safely say you've seen me talk about the Supergirl Red Tornado fight.
Yes, it's a
That
great
whole
one.
episode is quality, and that end fight scene between Red Tornado and Supergirl is in particularly incredible as well,
Yep.
because it pays off everything that the entire episode builds towards, which is a fantastic piece of television. So I will watch that fight scene on YouTube every now and again when it's just like, yeah, give me that sweet hit, give me it
Right.
now.
Right.
Um, and then on the flip side of that, there is one or two sequences from this movie that is in my rotation.
Ah, okay. That's promising.
One of them is the one that's the first within the first 10 minutes, just so you
Okay.
know. And,
Hey,
and I guarantee you will know it. Like I know you haven't really managed to spot any of my moments so far. You'll
mm-hmm.
spot this moment. You'll know
Okay.
it immediately and be like, okay, yeah, this is what he was talking about. This
Moon's
is the thing
moment.
that's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's carry that excitement over to watching the film.
Uh-huh.
We're back. We have seen we've seen the League of Justice.
Uh-huh.
Um, we man, let's start off with the CG elephant in the room that happens literally the first shot of the movie.
hold on. That's literally one of my first note, but I do have to mention something before we do get into this too
Sure.
much. The runtime of a smooth 159, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
it's a motor in 2 hours. This thing kind of cooks the entire time.
uh-huh. And I hit play expecting this thing to forgetting that this is not the next one.
Right.
And having it's 2022, it's the decade of 3 hour movies. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, 2 hours? I'll take that in a heartbeat,
Yeah,
please and thank
exactly.
you.
I like it. Now hit me with that hour and a half. That's the sweet spot. 90 minutes is
Hmm.
where I'm happiest. Um,
And now straight into my first note. Mustache Gate!
yeah, man, it's a real bummer because this is such a cool scene. Like
Hmm.
it's nice to see. Number one, I like that the kids are shooting in portrait mode, which
Yep.
is 100% accurate. They're asking
Did you
him,
also hear what it was for?
yeah, for their podcast.
Yep.
They're also asking him the dumbest questions, like if he's fought a hippo before, because they're the strongest land animal. It's really good. Um, I like that it shows that Superman is just gonna take a couple of minutes to chill with a bunch of dumb kids. Like I
Hmm.
think that is something that doesn't always get touched on with the character.
Yeah.
But man, that CG is just really bad. I it's way worse than I was expecting it to be. And again, it's such a cool scene. It's such a bummer that that's just the focus. It's like the Austin Powers mole scene. And it's just like mustache, mustache, CG, CG. Oh god, CG. Like that's really the
Hmm.
only thing you can see in this entire thing, and it's
Yeah.
just a bummer. Um, but as always, nice to see him do some cool Superman stuff that is just him standing around and being Superman. So,
Yeah, and he pulls it off. He's wholesome as
yep,
hell the entire time. Like, we'll get into it maybe a little bit later when things happen.
right,
But yeah, he nails it. He absolutely nails the whole Superman thing, which makes me laugh because again we've got a traditionally American superhero played by an English actor, and they nail
right.
it.
Well, then it's interesting because I think he nails Superman as well as the um, Arrowverse Superman does. Or like I think the Arrowverse Superman is a little bit more of that like disarming, charming kind of guy,
Hmm.
where he's like a little bit off in kind of a charming way, and I feel like this Superman is just like, yeah, man, like I got a real good workout routine. Here's my smile, and I'm like, ha, yeah,
Yeah,
tee,
he
you know,
he
like,
is 100% blue chipper to use a wrestling term. He's that
mm,
like pure good guy that
right,
you
right,
just expect sometimes with Superman.
yeah. We do get a pretty good intro scene here with Batman. Some real
Uh-huh.
nice shots of like Batman way off in the distance, like reflected in a window, or kind of off in the out of focus in the background, chasing this dude. Um,
I do like when he comes out the window, he looks left, and it's just that panning shot. It's just like a wide angle shot, and you
mm-hmm.
can just see him sitting on a gargoyle, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, man,
yeah,
that's Batman. That's
that's
real good.
Batman.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting them introducing the parademon here. Number one,
Hmm.
that design is gross and creepy in kind of the best way that you want like a comic book movie, not even a villain, just like
A
a
bad
rank
guy
and file
soldier.
thing. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's kind of gross. It makes gross noises and then it blows up, which sure, why not? um I the the whole not title card intro, but the opening credits is really interesting. I feel like the movie.
Hold on. We can't talk about the opening credits without mentioning that Alfred is back.
Yes, most importantly, I'm very very happy. there's a couple of people that are in this movie that just kind of drop by for like literally 3 minutes, and it's really good. Nice to see that Jeremy Irons is in it for quite a bit of the
Extended
movie.
times.
Yeah,
And
it's nice to
he
see.
spends the entire movie just ripping Batman apart. It's great.
Yep, it's really good. Um, I feel like this movie tries to hammer home, at the end of this Batman intro sequence with the thug that Batman was chasing down, sort of saying like, "Hey, the aliens are coming because everybody knows that Superman's dead, and like the world is in a worse place because Superman's dead." I think they try to hammer it home in the intro here. All the black Superman banners all over the world, and
Yeah.
a very Zack Snyder dude slow mo kicking a bunch of fruit on the side of the street. Um,
Mhm. My note here says, Earth is bad montage, open
yep.
brackets. Look, it's a racist, close brackets.
Yeah, it's. I feel like they try to get there, but they do a lot more sort of saying that everybody's sad that Batman or Superman's dead rather than kind of like dropping all these little hints and stuff throughout the movie, which
Hmm.
I mean, I guess it's this. I'll just dive into it now. It feels really weird that this movie. I feel like this movie and Batman v Superman were both kind of better suited for miniseries. Like
Yes.
you give this movie especially like 8 1-hour episodes to breathe, and you come out with like a really good season of TV. You give it a rushed 2-hour movie. We'll talk about it overall later, but you come out with something that's fine. And
Yes.
I think it's kind of a missed opportunity.
As a side mention, I'm pretty sure when they release the future version of this movie that we will be watching, there is the option to watch it as a movie, and I think it's 3+ hours of movie.
It is, yeah.
Or I'm pretty sure they also did a parts 1 through 8 and broke it up into a
Yeah,
mini series.
there are like title cards of like part one, part two, which I think we saw in what was it, Batman v Superman. They did kind of one thing those where it's just like part one, the day Superman blew up Metropolis, and part
Oh,
two,
that was Batman's intro. Was
yeah, yeah. Um, Next note I have here is Bruce meeting Aquaman. I don't remember if that's the
no,
next
no,
thing here.
it's not. We missed my one of my favorite parts of this movie
Yeah,
in the
what's
notes.
your 10-minute moment here?
My 10-minute moment is the London Criminal Court and it's Wonder Woman standing on Lady Justice, and then that entire
It's a great
sequence.
shot. I didn't write any notes here because this scene is really good. Um, I actually really like the infiltration of the bad guys into this building. I
Hmm.
think that is actually done really well, and I actually like that sweeping shot around that statue where you're like, why am I looking at the statue? And then as it kind of makes the full circuit around it, then Wonder Woman is standing on the top of it, and that music kicks in. I was like, works every time. It gets me every
Uh-huh.
single time. It's like, yep, let's
Every
go.
single time.
And then she just like does the sonic skid like through the wall, just like, and then she's just like, all right, I'm
Yes.
here to punch some dudes. Let's do this. And it's like, yes, please.
My quote here is "Back to the Dark Ages and the safety of holy fear."
Mm-hmm.
Of the dude setting the bomb, which is a great line.
He has such a good delivery on it too. He has like I think that he has like that and maybe one other line, but like whoever that dude is, that's a pretty good delivery on that line.
Mhm.
It's like it's the usual like yes, I'm Tyler Durden, this sort of standard thing
Yeah,
we see. But
he's
he
actually
sells it pretty well.
he's actually one of the Boltons. He's the head of the Bolton family from Game of Thrones. So he did go
Okay,
on to get a huge role, which is
nice,
great.
nice.
But yeah, like that whole sequence where like he's got the bomb, she lassos the guy and is like asking him questions, and he's like, "Yeah, it's too late. Like
Mm-hmm.
in like 3 minutes, 4 city blocks are gonna go." And the whole sequence where, yeah, she smashes through that door, she does fighting everybody. My favorite is the dude who hits her on the back of the head with the rifle, and
He
she
just
just
like
gives him
does.
this look as if to say,
Yeah,
"Really?"
she just like turns around like, come on, bro, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my favorite sequence, as goofy as it is, and I know it's goofy, but I don't care. But when she jumps up and then throws the bomb out the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he grabs the rifle and he's like, well, this would have been over quickly, but now instead, and then he fires that one bullet and
Mm-hmm.
she just drops down from the ceiling and stops it. And then he switches it to full auto and just goes across the thing. And she does the little like sideways hops the
Mm-hmm.
whole way, like
I think it's cool. I don't
moving
think it's
that dude out the way. And then,
I
of course, it ends.
I really like that
So
like
good.
freak on a leash, like move the dude out of the way sort of shot. I don't think that's cheesy at all. I think that's great because I think it is a so much of this movie is about speed, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a really good indication that it's like, yeah, there are two people in this movie that are really really fast,
Three
but the
people, dude.
but everybody else, especially Wonder Woman, is also really fast, just not like past the speed of sound. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, that whole sequence is so good.
it's
Like that
really
is the
good.
sequence that I always go back and watch every now and again, where it's just like, yeah, I could do with a Wonder Woman saving London moment right now.
Is this the scene that has the shot of her? She hits the hilt with her foot, and her sword goes above and over her shoulders, or is that another fight scene?
That's later.
Okay, I don't want to forget that shot because that shot is incredible. Um, what's after that one? I caught Moon coughing. Apologies.
Yes. After that one is Batfleck finds Aquaman is the very next note.
Okay. Um,
Jason Momoa makes Aquaman a legit badass, by the way, for the
yeah,
record.
he's really good, and the whole time I was watching this movie, I feel like Affleck finally gets Bruce Wayne in this one, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a real bummer we're never gonna see it again because I feel like he finally it like that role finally clicked with him in this. I think we saw like flashes of it in some of the other movies, but this one
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he leans into the absurdity of how rich Bruce Wayne is, and this kind of I like Aquaman giving him the business about like you dress up like as a bat, like as at a bat costume, like is that what you're um
Mm-hmm.
like
It's like,
oh
yeah, and then he's like, yeah, it seems to work in Gotham, and he's like, oh, Gotham, that asshole. It's
There's
like,
such a good line where he's just like he's leaving and he's just like throwing a grenade and walking away, like it's really I
and
good.
to steal from Cinema Wins here,
Mm,
Jason Momoa's workout routine, like,
my god,
jeez,
just a
like,
walking marble statue, my god.
and like I love him walking, just like drinking the whiskey, like or whatever it is, and he's walking towards the ocean, stripping off his coat and everything,
Yeah.
and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna get topless, and I'm gonna walk toward
Yep.
the like backwards into this like freezing cold water and not
Hmm.
even flinch.
Yeah, I really like Momoa as Aquaman this whole movie. I feel like he strikes a good balance between like I know what I'm doing is the right thing, and then kind of having a little bit of doubt but still being an undeniable like strong superhero.
Hmm.
Um and then still making his answer later about like do you really talk to the fish? And then I'm like divisively saying like no, the water does the talking for me. It's sort of like
Uh-huh.
yes, it's stupid, stop asking questions. Like,
Yeah, and after he basically says no. Let's face it,
yeah,
like
he's like
he's
I'm
like,
not helping you. What I'm like I'm happy here. What am I going to do? Like solve
yeah.
your own problems.
My favorite line from that is like, I don't care if the oceans rise.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Also
so good.
the line I really like Affleck's reaction to Aquaman misquoting that quote where Bruce is like that's not the quote at
Strongest
all.
men are stronger alone.
Yeah, and he's like, that's actually the opposite. Like, that to me is like Affleck finally kind of nailing he's been a good Batman throughout the entirety, but like that to
Hmm.
me is him kind of nailing this really tired, kind of a little bit over the hill Batman of just like, what are you talking about? Like what are you doing? Um,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
you especially get how much he nails it. Actually, in the very next scene when it's him and Alfred on the jet having the
yeah,
conversations about the entire crew, like it's him nailing Bruce, but Bruce being Batman secretly kind of thing.
hmm.
And then we meet Barry.
So I actually I didn't I didn't write much down here. I think I got some stuff out of sequence here because I think I wrote the next thing I wrote here was the Amazons escaping. And I
Yeah,
think
that's
that comes
after
after.
Barry.
Yeah. Um.
So I will do a quick breakdown for you for moments you may have forgotten.
Sure.
He shows up to meet his dad in prison.
Yes.
The guy behind him is a D-bag.
Yes.
We have the Sharpie moment.
Right. It's just really the like couple of frame flash of his hand swiping across the screen is really good.
Uh-huh.
Like a genuine blink and you'll miss it sort of thing.
Yep. His dad is Dr. Manhattan.
Yep. Sure is. This is a scene I kind of forgot because I don't like this scene.
Yeah,
Um
this scene isn't great.
yeah, I feel like you probably could have cut. You need to have in seemingly every Flash storyline. You need to have
His dad's in
the
prison.
yeah, his dad's in prison for killing his mom, but Barry doesn't believe it. Yada yada yada. You know, like you have to have it,
Uh-huh.
but I feel like the rest of the
No, you
Flash
don't.
stuff.
Spoiler alert, no, you don't. He's really fast. That's all you need.
Well, and the thing is like Alfred telling Bruce that's like, yeah, here's the other kid. But maybe his dad killed his mom, and it's sort of like that's you probably do the rest of it. You got a lot of the rest of the Flash stuff in this movie. You can probably figure the rest of it out. Um,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, this scene isn't my favorite. I didn't like Barry coming out of this, but we'll talk about Barry more as we kind of go through the rest of this.
Yeah, and after that, it's the Cyborg dad sequence where you meet Cyborg
Mm,
in the house, apartment, whatever.
yeah. I like.
So
Go ahead.
I have not seen any Teen Titans. I have not.
Oh, I've seen a lot of the original cartoon from
Mhm.
the was it early 2000s maybe. I haven't seen
So
any of the newer stuff, so
like
I've
so
seen
I
Cyborg before.
yeah, I have zero connection with Cyborg
Yeah, ditto.
because from what I understand, Teen Titans is where he really got his big break as like a big lead character in the DC universe.
Mm.
Um, so I have zero connection to him, and I absolutely do not like him in this movie for the most of the time he's on screen.
Yeah, I feel like he
It's
I
it's
good.
also not helped by the fact that he's got that weird CG edging to his face where it's very
Yeah.
clearly not done well.
Yeah, and it's like half of the CG in this movie is okay and half of it is just like you guys just missed the mark a little bit, and it makes the whole thing look really weird. I like Cyborg in pretty much all of this, but I think he is the most. His storyline is the most hurt by him not getting his own movie.
Uh-huh.
Because I think every time you see him, he's angry that he's been brought back to life. Wink. But he's also like frustrated and fascinated that he has all these new powers. Like I think that line
Uh-huh.
of when he figures out he's like the booster jets in his feet, and his
Yeah, he's
line
like,
of like,
every day. Every day when I wake up, I'm changing. Something new is
yep.
happening, and his dad's like,
I
"What are
like
you
his
talking about?" He's like, "Oh, hey, I can fly now."
I like his line of like couldn't do that yesterday. I was like that's a
Uh-huh.
really good delivery of just like not happy about this. I got jump legs like cool. This is great.
Yeah, and to be honest, like out of everybody in this movie, the two backstories you probably didn't know, Cyborg and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Wonder Woman got her movie, and Cyborg didn't.
and still doesn't in early 2022. And like, it's sort of funny because like, I think you could have done a Flash origin movie pretty well. That would be kind of a fun ride. But you
which
figure it
we're
out in
going to
this
be
movie.
getting, by the way.
Yeah, but like, I feel like Flash and Aquaman both in this movie get enough background that I don't feel like they got hurt by it. Where Cyborg is very much like, you got this like robot dude. Okay, like he meets up with
Uh-huh.
Aquaman later, or with Wonder Woman later. Fine, okay. You know, like it's. I like his stuff in here. I like that actor. I just wish this was the second movie he was in.
Yeah. From there, we do cut to Themyscira, where the Queen is riding towards a dome on the edge of Themyscira,
Mm-hmm.
which turns out to be housing a mother box,
Which is just
which
every time I hear that, it sounds like a Binding of Isaac item, and it just
uh-huh.
could have had a different name. Please God.
So this is where, before we get into this deeply, I just want to bring up right here and now that this is where the Amazon outfit design changes comes into play,
Mm-hmm.
where all of a sudden everybody is showing their midriffs, and before anybody comes at me, it's like, well, that's in the flashback sequence. No, it's not. It's this whole sequence right here.
Yeah.
Everybody is in midriff bearing stuff, like, so
Right.
go away. Which I'm not a huge fan of. However, skipping past that male gazy BS, which is to do with the outfits here, we do have to mention my notes. Who's that doing a hero landing? Question mark. It's your boy.
It's your boy Steffi Wolf. Brr, brr, brr. Um, this I still like Steppenwolf. I
Oh, I sense a book coming along right here.
but I think the CG on any character's intro needs to be the highest level of CG you put in the movie, and this is
Uh-huh.
definitely not it. Um, Also, his helmet change is not my favorite. That's not my favorite design of his. Um, but man, do they make him sound super cool! And that axe is huge, and he is huge, and it's your boy Steppenwolf.
Yep.
Hit that like and subscribe.
Because
Um,
the funny thing is, like, as soon as like I did my best to not let you know that he was the villain in this movie, the
I'm very
entirety
excited.
of the first part.
Uh huh.
Because and then as I was watching it, I was like, as soon as Boston sees this, he's gonna lose his mind.
I'm very, and also him showing up and being like being creepy about his mom, then comes directly followed by one of the best action scenes we've seen in the DCEU so far.
Uh-huh.
With the Amazons escaping with the mother box and like juggling it between a whole bunch of people and like whoops this one's dead, whoop that one's dead, like the shot of her
The
flinging it with
arrow.
an arrow and then another person catching it horse to horse, so cool. Like that for me, that's like my 10-minute moment where it's like I could watch this whole like 5 minute sequence over and over again. Like this thing is incredible. It starts off with like
Uh-huh.
six ladies with like 8-pack abs crushing these like
Trapping
wooden
themselves in
posts.
as
Yeah,
well.
trapping them in with him and like yeah, it's the whole thing is super cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that
But
whole
yeah,
thing
he
is
gets he gets the box,
yep.
and he leaves. And then we do a quick hard cut to, oh hey, it's Lois Lane and Mama Kent.
Uh, it's nice to see her, but it's a weird like filler scene.
Uh-huh. And we get
Excuse me.
the hungriest and thirstiest mix up, which is a very 2020 joke.
It's pretty good. Where she's like, "Ah, they said you were really thirsty," and Lois Lane is like, "Thank you." I think she's like, "No, hungriest." And she's
How
like, "Oh,
close were
thank
you
God."
with? How close were you exactly?
Right. Like it's a. I still like Amy Adams. Um, I just again not in any of this stuff nearly enough as much as I wanted her to. Um,
Yeah. Then Diane finds the Batcave.
yes. this is uh fine. There's some Batcave stuff in this movie that is good. I don't remember this being that great, other than
The only
him.
thing you get from this is the Steppenwolf story
Yeah,
from Diane.
I do like this the Bruce line of like, I spent millions of dollars for this very expensive security system, and Diana's like, it did look
Yeah, it
very
looks
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah, it's just like whatever. Um, yeah, I forgot this was the flashback where we see like all the gods fighting together with Green Lantern, who I was very happy
Hmm.
to see Green Lantern in this, and he literally dies like 10 seconds later and his ring flies off, and I was like,
Yep.
well, sorry buddy. You're a
Yeah. You
cool superhero that just never lives.
It's the Atlanteans, the humans, the Amazonians, and the gods and other people, wink
Right.
lanterns, helping fight Steppenwolf
So
off.
some of these green dummies, whatever. Um
Uh-huh.
yeah, pretty cool large scale fight scene. Um, I'm sure if you slow it down, it's probably just a CG nightmare, but that's fine. Um,
Yeah, and I'm sure it's also full of a bajillion references that they're
oh
winking and
God,
nodding at,
probably.
knowing they're never going to do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
Like Green
the
Lantern.
reference to the lantern is just so obvious
Mm-hmm.
who it is, and then also it's like, come on, really?
Right.
Like, really? You're
Kill him
gonna
right
throw
away.
that in?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's a cool sequence. Question: do you
Yeah.
get any chemistry between Batfleck and Wonder Woman?
I think mm, I think you can read it like that. To me, I guess I've been thinking about this because this is one of the few movies where I went and watched like the cinema wins after it, because I felt like I was hoping there wasn't anything I missed. Um, and he had mentioned in there, and I had seen some other people mention that there was like romantic chemistry there, and to me, it felt more like these are the two leaders of the Justice League, like letting their walls down.
Uh-huh.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily romantically, just sort of like
I
later Batman shows that he's like horribly bruised and he's really feeling it. Um and I like that he kind of takes his walls down a little bit. I think it's just more like him being honest for once.
Yeah, and like I honestly thought there was more tension in that direction between the two of them in BVS when they're doing
Yeah.
the close-up dancing and the stealing from each other routines. Like
Right.
that is a very Catwoman vibe that in
Yeah.
BVS, which makes me laugh actually.
Right.
Um, but no, I mean it's a good sequence. I do like the Steppenwolf backstory because it's very much done in that same Wonder Woman kind of style, except
Mhm.
more realistic this time.
Yep.
And then we switch to possibly one of my favorite sequences, which is Batman goes and recruits the Flush.
I love everything about this scene. To me, this is the intro that Barry should have had.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think him in prison, he's he's not as likable as he is here. Like this is the Barry Allen I want to see where he's just weird. Like
Yeah,
he's a little like off kilter. He's like he can't stop moving. He's just a little weird. He's inexperienced completely. Like this is the
uh
one I really like.
he does competitive ice dancing. They use that stuff on the space shuttle. It's
Mhm.
very competitive ice dancing.
Mhm.
It's so good. Like I like this whole sequence because it's like, yeah, Barry's don't get me wrong, I like the Arrowverse version of the Flash where he's awkward too, but he's got the team and he's got the friends and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
He's got a little bit of confidence. Like he's done some
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah, but this Barry who is brand new into this world, it feels like, yeah, and him setting up with like literally when he goes in, there's a million things turn on at once, and you're
Mhm.
like, of course, a million things turn on at once because he can probably pay attention to every single screen all at
Right.
once.
Right.
It's such a good build up, and then yeah, Batman throws or Batfleck throws the batarang at him.
Mhm.
and like he slows down time, and that whole moment where he's just staring at it and then he reaches out and catches it is
Yep.
like, wait, so you're the Batman?
It's a really good, like, I like so much about the Flash in this. One, I think him, the Speed Force looks cool.
Mhm.
I think that's the thing that some Flash stuff has a hard time displaying. But I really, really like the electricity and sparks that fly off him whenever he does his speedy stuff. I
Mhm.
I think it's an incredibly cool, because usually it's just like, yeah, it's a red blur, yeah, it's the Flash. You know, what are you gonna do? But I like that there's something notably different about this Barry.
Yeah.
And I especially like that Bruce doesn't even get like two sentences into his pitch, and Barry's just like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm sold.
I
Or I
mean,
did help. I need friends.
I need I need friends. People
Yeah.
are slow. I need friends.
What is
Um,
brunch? You know, like he's just.
oh, that whole thing is like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is his awkwardness, like in like four sentences when he's talking about brunch.
Yep. And then
And
he backs it up like with not knowing when to stop a joke, like he's a snack hole.
yep.
Like that sort
Yeah, because
of.
he's eating the pizzas and he like goes outside to get into the car and he's like, yeah, I need like 15,000 calories a
Mm-hmm.
day or whatever it is.
Yep.
And then gets in the car and he's like, what are your superpowers again? And literally Batfleck responds with, I'm rich, as the
Yep.
doors close on the camera. It's so good.
And that's the sort of stuff I really like out of Affleck's portrayal of Bruce in this one, where it's just like, yeah, I'm rich, man. You know, the doors on this incredibly expensive car is going to close. I don't even care if this kid's eating pizza in my car. Whatever. And buy another one. No big deal.
I would care because that's a very expensive car.
Yeah. Um, but
And yeah, this is the Diane and Cyborg thing, which
yeah,
is fine.
it's. I feel like it's like halfway there to being an interesting scene, but if you were to cut most of this out, you might still be okay.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's just, again, I like Cyborg. I like Diana. I think the two of them talking is. I like Diana's kind of insistence of like, yeah, I thought I was good alone too, but I'm really not. Like, if anyone knows what's going on, all of us do. Like, all of us are in the
Yeah.
same position.
And I like the fact that Cyborg, like right at the beginning, is like, "Yeah, you're looking for something that can't be found. I'll let you know if I see anything." Like he's willing to help, but he
Yeah,
just wants to do it by himself, kind of
right,
thing,
right. It's
which is
okay.
great. We get kind of a throwaway Aquaman scene here as well, which is him rescuing the dude from the boat. Um,
Yeah, this is another scene where it's like, it's cool. Some of this stuff is important. This
it
leads
literally
Aquaman.
exists to show him saving the dude,
Right, being a hero.
steal, yeah, stealing more whiskey, then just walking off a stone pier into torrential weather, which is
Mm-hmm.
again Aquaman being a badass. That's
Yep.
great. But then, yeah, he goes back to Atlantis for the first time ever, we're assuming.
Yeah.
And yeah, spoiler alert, Steppenwolf is stealing the box from Atlantis as well.
Right. I think this is the part where we get a cool scene of Aquaman just giving giving Steppenwolf a knee to the face, which
Uh-huh.
I think it's a cool scene to show that, like, yeah, Aquaman isn't just the dude who talks to fish and swims really fast. Like, he's a big dude for a reason. Like, he can
Uh-huh.
survive by himself, and he can put the business to this like 10 foot tall space demon. I don't know what Steppenwolf is. I just like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of this is like, and then there's like an exposition scene where he's talking to someone about his mom, and I'm like, I don't care about any of this. I don't. This shouldn't be here
If
at all.
if only there was an Aquaman movie to
Right?
explain who that was.
Yeah, like I
And
hearing
who's
about
Queen
an
Mira? I mean, I know who Queen Mira is because I watched Smallville and Aquaman is in Smallville, so I know the
right.
whole thing.
But
But
like hearing about another DC universe's mom issues, like I don't care. We already have Batman and Superman. Their moms share the same name. We're full up on mom issues. We are good.
Dude. Batman, Superman. Cyborg's mom died in an accident that should have killed him. The Flash's
Right.
mom was killed by his quote-unquote dad, even though we all know that wasn't real.
Right.
Everybody's mom, except for Wonder Woman, has been killed.
I know.
Wonder Woman's got what is it? A deadbeat dad situation in the fact that Zeus
right.
is her dad who doesn't exist anymore.
The most famous deadbeat dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man.
Everyone has mommy issues except for the woman who has a daddy problem. But she
Right.
even doesn't have a daddy problem, really. It's not a
Yeah,
problem
she
for
just
her.
has Zeus as a dad, which is like a whole separate set of books. The next note I have here is a cameo that I don't know if we're up to yet.
It is. This is the
Okay.
bit where a whole bunch of people who are associated with Star Labs, wink and nod,
Yep.
wink and nod, have been kidnapped.
Right.
And I think 7 of them have disappeared from Gotham, which means that we have to be introduced to, of course, Jim Gordon, played by...
J.K. Simmons. It's so good. When he came on screen, I was like, all right, yeah, J.K. Simmons. And then like 2 minutes later, I'm just like, oh my God, he's Commissioner Gordon. This is perfect. Look at that mustache. This is so good. I do like his line.
I'll talk to him tonight.
Yeah, I really like that line of. I think it's an interesting, like, real short bit of world building here that I think is really good. Where Gordon is just like, you think he like fights in a suit here for 20 years and then goes somewhere else and kidnaps 8 people? I'll talk to him tonight. And I like that the cop he's talking to is just like, okay. Like, there's enough history going on here that they're just like, all right, we'll let Gordon and Batman handle it. Like, there's obviously been this 20-year relationship where he's just like, yeah, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Like, I think that's a really nice little piece of work.
And then I think from there we cut to him switching the light on, and we do get the animated series Batman theme, like the Batman theme from the animated series is right here.
We get the one from the Tim Burton movies.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because oh my God, what is his name? Elfman composed both this movie and those ones, and as soon as that theme kicked in, I was like, cool. You earned that callback, Danny Elfman. Like, that is, I will allow that one to happen. Like, if Hans Zimmer was still doing this and he like brought that theme back, I'd be like, you dare stand where he stood. Like, that wouldn't be that wouldn't be okay. But I'm like, you know what, Elfman, like you kind of cut your teeth on a lot of that stuff, sort of post Oingo Boingo. So like, I like it. I like that.
Yeah, we get the superhero meetup on top of the tower, which we totally forgot to mention that they arrived in Gotham on the jet and they got off the jet, which because he turned the light on, the light was shining in the sky, and the Flash was like, oh hey, it's you.
Right. And he's like, I mean, it's your symbol.
Doesn't that mean we should, go there?
I like that Bruce is just like, oh my God, he's so young. That's so. This specific scene right here is probably the scene that got the biggest laugh out of me. I thought this movie largely was pretty funny. But the scene of Gordon turning around and like exposed
everyone else
having an exposition, yeah, and like he turned around and of course everybody's gone and the camera pans and Barry is still standing there and he's just like, oh they really do that, huh? And he's like,
they just
sorry,
left. That's rude.
Yeah, that's
and
rude.
Then he vanishes.
It's like, it's so good that like they played both sides of it, of like, of course Batman and everybody's just going to disappear when Gordon turns his back, but I absolutely love that Barry is just the only one standing there and be like, what is, oh no, they really do that, oh man, okay, gotta go, pew, like that's a real good, I like that a lot.
Yeah, and this leads us to the tunnel fight, which is they're trying to they kidnap the Star Lab people to the island in between Gotham and Metropolis, because Gotham and Metropolis are just a bay away from each other.
Yeah, no big deal. Just right next to each other. Just a quick hop, skip, and a jump.
Just a bay, just a bay.
Yeah,
I
it's
I apologize for everybody listening to this now having that song stuck in their head for days.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, they're at the bay, so they have to go through the underground tunnels. Of course, they do
right.
to get there. And this scene I love because it's Steppenwolf. Like it cuts to Steppenwolf brutally murdering a woman who doesn't know anything,
Mm-hmm.
and then he picks somebody else up, and it's a great line. I hate how much I love this line. But this guy's like, stop, stop, I have a family. And he's like, why does everybody keep telling me that?
Yeah, like he could not care less. It's just like
Uh-huh.
cool. I mean, I do too, which is why I'm doing this. So like, if you don't know where the
Uh-huh.
box is, then I'm gonna snap that neck.
Uh-huh. And like they're all getting ready to go in to try and save these people. And I like it's a great moment between the Flash and Batman where the Flash is
This is
like,
one of my favorite scenes in this.
yeah, it's like he's like, I'm scared. All I do is move really fast and then push some things
Yeah,
and
he's
then
like,
run away.
yeah, he's like, I just push people and run away. Like that's all I really like this Barry, and I really like that he's honest, saying like, I don't fight. Like I've never been in a fight. Like what am I supposed to do here? Look at this dude. Like look at all these weird flying bug things he has. Like what am I supposed to do in the face of all of this? And then
Yeah, he's like, I really don't like bugs and I'm especially afraid of extremely tall dudes.
it's just it's really good. And then we get the scene that I think encapsulates why Batman is so good in the Justice League and in DC and why he's great in a team. And he gives the just one speech where he's like,
Yeah,
just go in and
save one.
save
Like,
one.
don't talk, don't
Yep.
fight,
Just get
don't
him
do
back
nothing.
here
Save one.
and then
That's
you'll
all you need
figure
to
it
do.
out. I like that thing of just like, you need to go do this and you will figure it out. And the shot of Barry saving the first guy and then having that like light bulb moment and wordlessly just being like, okay, I gotta go, and then just like dashing back and forth, like it both Barry and Batman get their moment to shine here, and I think both of them work really well. Of Batman just saying like, look, I've been doing this for a very long time. I know how to get you there, and Barry just having that moment of like, yeah, I think I can do this. Like both of
Mhm.
those are really, really good.
Yeah, and then yeah, whatever, we get a tunnel fight, and like Steppenwolf doesn't find out where the box is, but he kind of finds out where the box is, and he uses the Batman missiles to blow open a hole in the water, which
He
is
just catches
great.
a missile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just like
We
the fact that he points at the wall and is just like, "Oops."
yeah, we also get the intro of the Nightcrawler, which I don't think is as big of a scene as the movie thinks it is.
No,
I
who
don't think
gives
it
a crap
really
about the
rates.
Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but it's not the troop carrier. It's not the Batjet from BVS, which was sick as hell. It's not the
Hmm.
Batmobile. Just go away. Who
It
cares?
doesn't even get them out. Like
Uh-huh.
they don't even use it to escape. Like
Uh-huh.
it's yeah. There is
And I'm
some
sorry, but if you're a Batman fan, you don't call something the Nightcrawler. Like, you
right.
just don't, because that's one word away from one of his family members.
Right.
So get away from me with the Nightcrawler.
It's also there are a couple of like quick throwaway bits with Bruce in the Nightcrawler of just like, yeah, that dude is big. Like the Nightcrawler coming in and just getting wrecked by Steppenwolf,
Hmm.
which is really great. Um,
But yeah, from the tunnel fight scene, which we don't need to go into because spoiler alert, it's a whole bunch of a CG nightmare.
oh,
The only part
there's one specific shot I like in here a lot.
is it
Um,
Aquaman.
yeah, it's Aquaman. I think this one happens later. Sorry. Is this the one with where Flash is running around the outside with Diana falling? I think this is this
No,
scene. Okay.
that's later. That is, I think. Wait, maybe.
No, yeah, I think
Yes, it is. It is here
yeah, where he
because
like dinks the sword back into her
sword
hand. Yep, and he like I love his little smile where he's just like, "Yeah, I did it," and immediately smacks his
falls
face.
over.
Yeah, on just like on this set of stairs, like, it's the great thing I love about Barry, which is like, yes, I finally did it. Well, no, like, and then the two of them falling, and he immediately falls on top of her, and then does the like flash dash standing up. Like
Uh-huh.
that's a really good shot. He's so good in this.
Uh-huh. Like the funny thing is like when this came out, I hated this version of the Flash because
Mm-hmm.
I was deep into the Arrowverse thing at the time,
Sure.
and I adored that version of the Flash, and this version I just felt was just not my speed, pun
Right.
intended. Um,
Heyo.
but coming back to it, it's like I've got so much more appreciation for this as like because
Yeah.
yeah, spoiler alert, I almost got trapped in that whole thing of not my Flash, hashtag not my
Exactly.
Flash thing. And it's like, no, I don't care. There can be two Flashes. It's fine.
Right.
If the Flash TV show has taught me anything, there can be seven Flashes for all I know.
Look at how many Spider-Men there are right now. There's like 15 of
Mm-hmm.
them. They're all good.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this whole, I do like Aquaman showing up to hold back the water.
I,
Um,
it also it's really funny because that's literally like the final shot in Frozen 2. It's just like exactly the same shot that happened here, and I was just like, this is just okay. You're literally you and Frozen 2 just doing the same thing. Great. Um
awesome.
yeah. It
But
is a
yeah, Aquaman's
cool
being a
scene though.
badass.
Yeah.
And he's got his trident and he's got his armor now, which I like as well.
That's true. That's true.
Which is really cool. And then we head back to the Batcave for the team meeting, shall
The
we say?
resurrection fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I I I, I painting a big picture here, I really wasn't expecting this was the way that they were gonna bring Superman back. Just like as a thesis statement, I didn't think it would be like, "Hey, I got this box. Sort of brought Cyborg back to life. So,
uh-huh.
cough, cough. What about the hometown hero, huh?"
Yep. And I do like the fact that Diana's against it.
Right.
And him and Diana get into it, and it's really good seeing those
Mm-hmm.
two like throw barbs at each other. Um, the Flash's line is great. Are we gonna bring him back? Like, yay, he's back, or like Pet Cemetery back?
The Pet Cemetery reference is genuinely really good. That is
Hmm.
also feels very much like a Barry thing of just like, hey, is it going to be good or is it going to be like Pet Cemetery? You know?
Yeah, and I like the fact that Cyborg's like, yeah, I agree. Like we got a pretty good chance of doing this, but I was doing crunching some numbers while you were busy being an a-hole.
It's really good. Is this where Diana pushes Bruce too?
Yes, and
It's a
she
great
pushes him
shot.
into that thing because
Yep.
she doesn't even put any effort into it. It's just like Superman that first time when Superman and Batman got into it.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, huh, and he just
Right.
goes flying back.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, I forgot to talk about Barry entering the Batcave for the first time.
It's just like there's a kid in a candy store just like zipping all over the place, sitting in like the
The
Batmobile.
Batmobile.
Yep, zipping all over the place. Like he's really
It's
great.
a cave, like a bat cave.
It's just he's like almost borderline stupid with some of the stuff. He's so excited, but I think it really works.
Yeah, he needs friends,
Yeah.
and now he has friends with cool toys.
Well,
Um,
he feels very much like if Batman was real in our world and you got to go in the Batcave, you'd be like, this is the coolest thing I've seen in my life. I'm gonna go look at everything before he finds out I'm here.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, Alfred. I love this conversation between Alfred and Bruce,
Mm-hmm.
where oh wait, Bruce is trying to explain why he's determined to bring him back. He's like, yeah, his strength, his power, and then Alfred tries to fight with him. He's like, look, dude, he was more human than I am.
Yeah.
Like, he found a job, he found a relationship, he found love, he lived as a human more than I have. I'm 50 years old and I'm living by myself with a dead kid in the other room and constantly haunting my dreams.
Yeah.
And this is a dude who, with all of that power, found a life.
Mm-hmm.
that's why we need him, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's such a good back and forth between them of like what they need to do. And then yeah, like they decide to go to the Kryptonian ship with Clark's corpse, which I do find it funny that they sent Cyborg and the Flash to go and
Yeah,
do the
just
grave robber.
yeah, it's an interesting scene where Flash is really trying to like connect to Cyborg, and Cyborg's like, I don't find anything wrong with what we're doing. I would like you to shut up, and I would like to dig up this corpse.
Hmm.
Which I think works pretty well for Cyborg. Also, genuinely surprised his actual body is there, which kind of surprised. I thought they would open an empty corpse or an empty like
Well,
casket.
yeah, it went in Clark's grave, didn't it? It didn't go in Superman's.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true.
Um, but yeah, so they steal the corpse, they break into the Kryptonian ship.
Right.
The ship's been damaged by Luther, blah, blah, blah. We forgot to mention Cyborg can use his weird tentacles to interact with old technology now, which is fine.
Yeah, it's
I
it's like a
guess.
real Deus Ex Machina sort of thing where it's like, we'll get the robot to do it, and it's like, okay, sure,
Uh-huh.
fine.
Yeah, there isn't enough power to do it. Well, I might be able to help.
It feels very much like the Arrowverse Flash, where it's like, I think we need an incredible amount of power. He's like, I happen to have a ring here where I can run super fast. It's like, all right, let's do it. Crazy enough to work. And it feels very much like that, where it's like, I'm going to go all the way back, and I'm going to go very fast.
Uh-huh.
I just kind of like him sprinting at that thing and like getting ready to touch it in super slow motion. I don't know what it is. The cube looks super cool too.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I like this scene for no other reason than slow mo still looks really cool.
Yes. What do you think of the Flash's running animation, by the way? Because I'm okay with it now. When I first saw it, I hated it. Like his like ice skater kind of
It
run
looks a
thing.
little goofy. I feel like I'll just say it honestly. I feel like if you have Flash running and he's not doing the straight fingers up and down, he has like his fists balled up. I feel
Uh-huh.
like you're doing it a little bit wrong. It's not like the mortal sin of comics, but like if he doesn't look like a professional like runner, like a sprinter, then I feel
Yeah.
like you're kind of missing the mark a little bit. I kind of don't mind his like sort of loose and like almost a little bit goofy
It's
skatery
it's like
thing, but
speed skating, and it's like
it
I
really is.
on one side, that conceptually I can understand where they're
Yeah,
coming from, but at the same time, no version of the Flash has ever been portrayed as running that way. They
right.
always have, like you said, the straight hands up, the straight
Yep.
arm pumping motion of a
You look
sprinter.
like an Olympic sprinter. Like it's I don't know. I think there's a lot that you do right with the Flash. Like you can see a whole bunch of marks from like stones and stuff that has scuffed up his
His
suit, and
suit.
there's like traces of things that like went back because he's moving so fast. But I think the running is just every time it's on screen, it's just sort of like it almost looks super goofy. But like
I'm very curious if they're going to keep with that animation style for the movie that
yeah,
he's
like once he
getting,
has more experience.
or if they're gonna like retcon it with some stupid BS of like, oh well, I got a new pair of shoes from Bruce
Exactly. Right.
that give me a lot more grip, so now I can run faster.
It's this Spider-Man gets technology from Iron Man sort of thing, where it's like,
Yes.
now I got all this cool stuff from this rich guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Instant
I
kill
don't know.
mode.
Yeah, it's I do like the shot when the cube and Barry's finger and the water all touch, and that like giant white shaft of light explodes out of the top of the ship.
Uh-huh.
I do kind of dig that, and I kind of dig evil Superman. Number
Uh-huh.
one, because he's not wearing a shirt for almost the entirety of it, and I'm into that. But I like that he didn't he didn't play it as like the mustache twirling bad guy. You know, he's not
he
like
he very much he's very much a JRPG character in this moment where he has amnesia. He's
Yes,
super powered, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And then these four people in weird outfits are looking at him,
and are all
and
freaking out.
yeah, and Aquaman of all people is the one who's basically having a panic attack,
Like
and he's like
Aquaman's just like
scans
he's
his
not okay.
heartbeat. Yeah, it's such a good line.
And
And then I
I
like the fact that Cyborg's like, yeah, he's scanning us, so you might want to calm down there,
mhm.
Aquaman. And then he's like, well, I can't because he's not okay. And then Cyborg's suit kicks into self-defense mode, and he's just
Yeah,
like, oh no.
yeah. I actually really like the Cyborg's actor. I don't have the. I should have opened up IMDb. What before we started this. His boy names definitely are not my strong suit. I actually liked his actor in this. Just sort of. I think he really sold this like freak out that he can't control his robot body.
Ray Fisher, by the way.
Ray Fisher. Um, so I thought the scene was pretty good. I like that Superman just
Wrecks
destroys them. Yeah, like without a second thought. Easily my one of my favorite shots in this movie is
I was
Barry
gonna say, is this the moment? Is this the moment? Because I
Oh
have
my
in capital
god.
letters the moment.
Barry going into the Speed Force to try and get around Superman, and just that shot of Superman's eyes flicking to him and then his
Oh,
head moving is just like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This is great.
it's one of the best moments in cinema, I would say.
It's really interesting because I feel like you haven't had that much Barry in this movie, but you already understand that Barry is so much faster than everybody else at all times. So even it's starting with Superman being able to move his eyes fast enough to track Barry is crazy. And like even
Uh-huh.
if you don't know about the Flash, that is probably still very impressive. And then him just moving his head to track him and then just letting go and trying to beat up
Yeah, he
Barry.
tosses everybody else, and he is
Yep.
just a skosh too slow. Like,
Yeah.
because like Barry almost, I think he doesn't. Does he fall over or almost fall over when Superman tilts his head? He's like, uh oh.
Yeah, he's like
Um,
his expression is so good of just like this should not be happening. That we are in way worse shape than I thought. This is really not good.
And then I like the fact that the whole fight sequence between them, Superman's quick, but he's not quick enough to hit him.
Like you
But
said, he's
Barry
just
is
a little
so
too slow.
yeah, and Barry is so inexperienced that Barry doesn't know what to do in this situation.
I like he tries to
Because
push him. It's just
uh-huh,
like he said before, like I just push him and I run away. Like that's all he's trying to do is just like I need to go. Like I need to get
uh-huh.
away right now.
It's so at
Oh
that
man.
moment it's so good.
It's really really good, and I feel like there's a couple of scenes in this movie that like kind of get what's going on here, and like it gets the whole Justice League thing, and this is definitely so outstanding. Um,
hmm And but I like the fact that Bruce shows up finally.
yeah, and I think this is kind of there's a lot happening in this scene because Bruce shows up pretty soon. He calls in the big guns. Sorry, the big gun. Um,
Yeah. But I
I
like the fact that he shows up late and out of breath because he's Bruce and everybody else is a superhuman except for him. Um,
he's just running this like 80-pound suit over there, just like, oh, God, hold on, guys, I'm sorry.
and then
Um,
like I like the fact that Superman's response is like, "I know you," and
mhm.
then he starts to head towards him, and Diana tries to stop him, which
So there's like three shots in rapid succession that I like with Diana here a lot, where she tries to do the like two bracers
the
together,
braces.
and he
Uh-huh.
sprints toward her and puts his hand between the two bracers to stop her. And I was
Uh-huh.
just like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then he floats up a little bit and just punches her into the ground.
Oh,
And
dude, he headbutts her because she headbutts him.
that's right. And
And
he's just like,
he floats
he's
up
just
and
like,
is just
for
like,
real, lady.
"Ow!"
One of the most brutal shots in this movie is him headbutting her into the ground. Like that. That is just. Thankfully, she's okay, but it's just that's a shot of just like, whoa, you, woof. That's great.
Yeah. And then I like the fact that he grabs Batman
Mm-hmm.
and he picks him up and he's like, "This is all your fault."
Mm-hmm.
And then he says to him, "Do you bleed?"
There's I like that line. I think the one that I like more is "You wouldn't let me live, now you won't let me die."
Uh-huh.
Like it's like this simmering anger of just like, can you just leave me alone? Like I remember
Give
enough to,
me a live action Injustice with Cavill as Superman,
yeah.
please, please.
Hopefully he still wants to be Superman because he's great.
Yeah, he's so good at this role.
Yeah. I do really like that the big gun is Lois,
Lois.
and
Yeah.
one of my favorite kind of it's unfortunately I'll call it a throwaway shot is when he sees Lois and he just like ragdoll tosses Batman over his shoulders like peace. Like I'm totally done with you, I don't really care. And love really does conquer all, so now
Uh-huh.
Superman's kind of getting back to his normal self here.
Yeah, he flies off with Lois, and the place he flies to is, of course, the farm, which has been
Right.
foreclosed on by the bank. Um, and they're just having, "Yeah, why wouldn't I come here? It's home." And he's having a memory reconnection kind of
Mm-hmm.
period, so we don't see him for a while. Um, I do later on in a side flash sequence to this point, to this place, you do get the "you called mom" thing right when she's like 6 miles down the road, and
Right.
he knows she's showing
Right.
up, which is great.
Right.
But yeah, Supes is out apparently, and the rest of the league have to go and find and stop um, Steppenwolf without
Yeah.
Supes' help. But
Is he has all three
mother
cubes
boxes now,
now at
yeah,
this point because the last one he got was from that the
reviving
fight
Superman
there.
sequence.
Yeah.
Um, and I like the fact that they're getting into arguments like in the thing, and they're trying to all rally together as a team, kind of thing. Aquaman is like throwing some shade Cyborg's way. Everyone's throwing shade at the other directions.
Mm-hmm.
Barry's complaining about his blood sugar level, which is
Yep.
hilarious.
It's really good.
Um, and then like I like this is the sequence where Bruce. Well, number one, we forgot the line. Yeah, something's bleeding. All right, which makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Um,
Him just being like, oh no, too old for this. Oh boy.
uh-huh. And yeah, this is the sequence where him and Diana get into it. Like
Mm-hmm.
he goes upstairs, takes off the cowl and everything, and then he's like trying to take off his top, but he can't because his back is bruised and
His like
he's
his shoulders
dislocated his shoulder.
dislocated. Yeah.
Mm. And then of course Diana takes care of it for him.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is kind of a nice little scene of like, yeah, I get it. Like we're both kind of loners. We're both kind of struggling with this entire thing. Let me help you. Like if anybody knows what's going on, it's someone like me.
Yeah, and this is also the part where Diana's like, "Yeah, look, I can sit there and fight and do whatever I need to do." But at the same time, when it comes to being a leader, when it comes to telling somebody your life is worth this risk,
Yeah.
I don't like it. That's not who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
That
good
that's
sequence.
well, and I like that. Diana is being honest with Bruce about it, saying like you are kind of the natural leader, like whether you realize it or not, like you can do this thing and you're doing it really well.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Then they jump on. They find out the Steppenwolf is in Russia, which we've missed about 4 sequences of that whole thing. Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Um, so I do like the scene where the girl gets the bug spray out of the cupboard, though.
It's probably the best part of it. Yeah.
And then they've got a couple of hours to get to Russia. The jet isn't going to make it in time, but Cyborg can make it do it. Sure, whatever.
Yep.
Hand wavy.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all flying, making a plan on the way, and then we get the Aquaman scene, which is
This is
I hate how much I like this scene.
yeah. I really like this one too, where he's saying, we're all gonna die. She's really pretty. Everybody's really great. Everything's going
And you're
great.
just a
And
dude. No offense, you don't
yeah.
have any powers. You're just a dude.
And Momoa plays it really well in this because I feel like there has to be a pretty delicate line in acting this scene, and I feel like he nails it pretty well. And the reveal that he's sitting on the lasso is really good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good moment, and I like the fact that he literally goes because the only one he feels like he can threaten is Barry, and he's like,
Right.
you say anything, and I'll kill you. Oh, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I will send every piranha I know after you," which is a
Yeah,
great line.
it is a good
Um,
line.
and then Barry's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything after. We're all gonna die."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ezra Miller does a really good job at playing Barry because he doesn't lean too much into it. It feels pretty believable as kind of a character and a little bit of like the audience surrogate at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah, and then yeah, I my notes stop here because it's hey CG fight sequence time.
The only note I have here is when Aquaman shows up, he jumps and yells Yahoo and immediately gets smacked in the face by like 5 parademons. It's
Uh-huh.
really good. Like he almost gets this cool like hero shot moment and he just gets knocked off.
Dude,
Yeah,
he serves a parademon from the sky at one point.
it's I mean, it's sort of unfortunate it's like yada yada this entire scene, but like it kind of nails all the notes you would want it to nail. Like Batman sort of split second style knocks down a smokestack on a bunch of parademons. He's trying to drag them away from where Steppenwolf is, and
Yeah,
everybody's
Diana steps up to be the leader because he says he's going to go take care of the demons,
right,
which is a
looking to
callback to like the
sacrifice
very
himself.
first scene as well
Right.
with the sirens that they've been going on about the whole movie.
Yep.
Um, and then yeah, so they all go save him, and then they all go find Steppenwolf, and a fight ensues.
Yep.
And it's 50-50. Steppenwolf might win, they might win. Unity is already happening.
The power of friendship just isn't enough to defeat Steppenwolf. And
Uh-huh.
then
And then
it's a great line. You can admit it. It's a great line of Superman just coming in and saying, "I'm also a big fan of justice."
yeah, it's a good line. I hate it,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a good line.
It's really good. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then Superman comes in, and I don't think I had internalized it until Cinema Wins pointed it out by saying that Superman doesn't just come in and take over. He asks Batman how he can help. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like that's like for Superman, that's a small distinction that I think is really important. Where it's not just I'm here, you do this and you do that. It's just sort of like, all right, you guys probably already have a plan. What can I do? Um,
Yeah, and like Bruce is like, yeah, Barry's helping civilians. Like, well, like, he's not enough. So
like
he
Barry
goes
going
and
like,
helps
I sure
Barry's.
hope this is East, just running off. Then next time we see him, like this is definitely East. Like
Uh-huh.
it's real good.
Um, I do like the fact that he saves the family we've been following the whole time through by literally pushing their car
Mm-hmm.
like so quickly. Like the little girl's in the back, and he's like, no, hold on, hold on,
Right.
hold on.
Yeah.
And then he just like shoots them. I like the fact that like Soup's like is flying next to him on the way there. Is
Mm-hmm.
that you get the ones on the left, I'll get the ones on the right.
Yep.
So he saves this family in a car, and then he looks to the right, and there's Superman flying an apartment building away from the.
it's it's such a good shot of Superman like carrying an apartment building on its side, just like flying off, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, all right, great,
Uh-huh.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I do like this like budding rivalry between the Superman and Flash, which is just like, yeah, we're both pretty fast.
Yeah.
We'll see you later. Wink.
Yes. Wink. We'll get to that at
Yeah.
the end, I guess. Yeah. There's a fight sequence. Steppenwolf fights. Cyborg does the split thing.
Right.
Um.
After like 3 or 4
Uh,
tries, he finally gets to hack into the Matrix.
Yep. And Superman helps him pull the boxes apart, which just
Yep.
tickles me because it's like, is it going to be any blowback? And he's like, yeah, big time. He's like, well, I'd like to stay alive. They split the boxes up, and then after in the aftermath,
Right.
Cyborg is saying, "Oh, my toes hurt. Why do my toes hurt?" And
Right.
then it cuts to him, and he doesn't have toes. He's got metal feet, and he's like,
Right.
"I don't even understand the physics of that."
Right.
And Superman's like, I take it back. I wish I was dead.
Yep. I also really like the line where Superman says like, I'd like to stay alive," and I like Cyborg's genuinely earnest answer of "Me too." Like it's very short, but it's probably one of the best performances from him in this movie. Of just like, yeah, man, me too.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, they split the
But
boxes
whatever.
apart.
Steppenwolf,
Diana
his axe
just
gets frozen.
Yeah, Diana shatters his axe with the sword, which is a pretty cool shot, actually. I think this is the part too where she like steps on the sword and it goes
Still.
over her shoulder, and that's just such a great shot. Yeah, and they intimidate Steppenwolf until he is afraid, and then the parademons start biting on him, and then he gets pulled away to Darkseid, I'm assuming.
Probably, yes. His
Yeah,
nephew.
yeah, yeah. There's only like one reference to Darkseid in this, which is
Which is
probably
when
more.
Steppenwolf says for Darkseid.
Yeah, it's probably one more than the movie needed to do without showing Darkseid. So, and before anyone writes in, yes, I know about Zack Snyder's Justice League, but yeah, they they win. Barry gets a crime lab job at the end. It's literally the worst job, but it's a foot in the door.
Yep. And his dad's like, is this a job job? And he's like, yep, it's a job job.
Yep. Uh, Barry and Superman are gonna do a sprint competition to the Pacific
mid
coast.
credit sequence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the Pacific, and he's like, and then
Yep.
Superman's like pointing the other direction.
The only thing I wish they would have changed is I don't like the two of them sprinting towards the camera as the last shot of the movie. I think it looks a little cheesy. Almost wish it would have been like a puff
Away
of
from the
dust. Yeah, like a puff of dust on this road as they're kind of leaving. But I am almost never a fan of like that slow motion freeze frame where they like jump at the camera. I think it looks cheesy.
Yeah, I do like that Soup's jokes with him though, and he's like, yeah, by the way, if I win, you're off the team.
Right. And Flash is like,
wait,
no,
what?
really?
He's like, no. Something about if I win, then Bruce said you have to take us all out and pay for brunch.
It's out to brunch.
It's like
That's a low blow.
That hits dark in my soul, man.
I love that Barry's one is like, if I beat you, I get to tell everyone I did it. It's just like, yeah, that's a pretty good trade.
Yeah.
My next note here is please stop doing Beatles covers. For real, this song has never been good. Don't do a cover of it.
I didn't even notice what song was it. A credit
it's
song?
It's come together. Okay. Done by someone. God, that song sucks. Post-credit scene. Lex is free. Arkham. You get a quick shot of Arkham and some guy that is also bald. Tee. So Lex is on a very expensive ship. Hey, who's there? Deathstroke. Played by Joe Manganiello, which is a really good casting for Deathstroke. It closes out with the line with, shouldn't we have a league of our own? Which...
Wink.
Yeah, there's no crying in baseball, wink. And that's it.
I think, isn't it the League of Villains or something like that it's called?
Oh, I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, there's like a villain league or something like that. Which would be nice to see if they ever get around to putting more of these movies together and releasing them, which seems to be...
Alert, they won't.
It seems to be DC's problem in the year of our baby Yoda 2022. Just not being able to put any movies out. And that was it. That was the end.
Yep.
My overall thoughts are I liked this movie a lot. Probably I liked it more than it is good. It's a fine movie. I feel like it hits every note that you want kind of a popcorn comic movie to hit. There really aren't that many surprises, and when there are, you get some really cool scenes like the Flash evil Batman or evil Superman moment. Also forgot to mention in the the post credits stuff where Barry's talking about getting a job. I really like the shot of the robbers that have the lasso around them, and they're like spilling all the details about like, oh, we were hired by this guy, he's working for this other guy, oh, that guy's name is actually. That's a really good like throwaway scene, but I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
um I think it's good. I like it. It's not. I think when you look at kind of apples to apples, it's a natural comparison to compare this to the first Avengers movie. I think coming out of the first Avengers movie, you're like, this is an incredible thing. Everything clicked. Everything was firing on all cylinders. I don't think this movie gets there, but I think it's fine. I like Barry a lot. I like Cyborg a lot, but he doesn't get nearly any time to be more than
Do
like a
anything.
walking Wikipedia. Like it's just is like a walking like Leatherman multi-tool for the internet. Like it's kind of a bummer, but we get to see Henry Cavill again. He kills it in this again. He does a good job as evil Superman too. He doesn't, like I said, he's not like this mustache twirling like I'm alive and then like kicks a puppy and like but I'm bad. You know, like he
Yeah.
doesn't do that. It's just sort of like meh. I really like Bruce and Batman in this. Again, I will say I feel like Affleck finally clicks with something of this. We didn't even talk about the scene of like Superman asking Bruce like, "How'd you get the house back?" And he's like,
Oh yeah.
I bought the
Bought the
bank."
bank.
He's like, it's like a reflex to me. Like I just can't help it. Like I like this.
Mhm.
I like the admittal of like I just bought the bank. I didn't know what else to do. Like I just threw my money at it. Like what else am I gonna do? I think Gal Gadot is good in this again. She doesn't get maybe as much screen time as I sort of want, but I wish the woman who directed Wonder Woman was directing this. Then I would want more time for her to be on screen.
Yeah.
I think Steppenwolf is a good villain. Um,
And of course, it's your boy, so of course you're happy to see him.
Yeah, his CG is rough throughout most of it, but I feel like through most of the movie um he is an imposing villain. Like he is someone who's going to just wipe out this world and take it over and turn it into the world he was born on.
Mhm.
Which is also a great like end goal for him because it's immediately he doesn't have this big thing of like I want justice. He's like, no, I miss my home. I'm gonna make this one in a home. Bye. Um, I like that. I like that. I wish he was. I
Would
wish
you
he
have
was.
preferred he looks more human like the comics?
No, I like when he looks kind of more alien. I wish he had the kind of the real quick shot you see of him in Batman v Superman. I like that design for him a little bit more. But I think he's a good villain. Of course, the team beats him after Superman. Doesn't really save the day, but kind of like complements the team. And the Justice League is kind of formally, informally put together. You know, Bruce and Diana are shopping for headquarters, and they kind of find one. Um, it's good. I
A
liked
big
it.
round table.
Yeah, I liked it, and I had fun with it. It's definitely not like the best movie I've ever seen, but for like a kind of popcorn summer comic book movie, it's good.
Yeah. Do you wish you would have seen it at the time?
This is probably the hardest one because when the nerds, parenthetically insulting,
Mhm.
found out that there was the Snyder cut, that's where like the history of this movie just got ruined.
It's worth mentioning that there was no Snyder Cut.
Right, and like that's that whole saga of like there wasn't, but he wanted to make one, and now there is one, and it's black and white and 4:3. Like there's so much, but like,
And it cost a further $80 million
oh
to
my
make.
god, it's so much money, dude. Um, Nationalized healthcare, who wants that? But like, I think seeing this movie in a vacuum in 2017, I almost wish I would have had that like less knowledge of when you know that the studio was kind of not messing around with it. It's not like there's a movie that my wife and I love called Aloha. It's like it has been edited within an inch of its life, and you can tell, like as someone who doesn't know that much about movies, this movie doesn't really feel that bad, but it feels a little bit safe, maybe in a way that like Batman v Superman and Wonder Woman didn't.
Hmm.
So I almost prefer I would have seen it then, just to not have the Snyder Cut nerds having given me that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. This is probably the toughest one because I don't know if I would have liked it less or more in 2017, but I kind of wish I had that like watching it in a vacuum.
Yeah. I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Um, I I like this more on this viewing than I did originally, and I think most of that comes down to the Flash, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Because I was very much not a fan of the Flash when I first saw this. Like I said, prejudices, whatever. Um, but I think he does a great job, and full credit to him. To the way he performs it is different, and I think it's just as valid as everything else. I will say, so I tried pulling up the ratings for this on Rotten Tomatoes, Boston.
Hmm.
Doesn't have ratings for the 2017 version anymore
Yeah, I was just pulling that up here. I wonder why that is. That's
because the
interesting.
Zack Snyder version exists. However,
That number one from like a historical perspective, that sucks. Like you can't just say like, well, there's a new version, so get out of here.
flip side of this is if you
Hmm.
just Google Rotten Tomatoes Justice League 2017,
Hmm.
it had a tomato meter of 39%
Okay.
and a audience score of 68%.
I think the
But if
tomato
you click
meter is probably too low on that one.
yes, and funny thing is, if you literally click that link, then it says zero reviews,
Hmm.
which is hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like
IMDb had it at 6.1 out of 10.
6.1 is probably a little bit lower than I'd give it. I'm probably in like the 7 out of 10 range because I
Uh-huh.
had fun with it. Like it has obvious problems, but um,
Because this is one of the reasons why I started to, because knowing this movie was coming up in the roster, the reason I brought up the ratings starting this season
mhm,
was because this is the movie where you have to say, okay, how many of these have been Zack Snyder bombed and
exactly.
how many of them are honest? It's impossible to know.
I do have to say that the 30%, 30 whatever percent tomato meter score, I think that's way too low. Um, I think I think I can understand people that are coming out of this movie not having fun, but I think it's
Hmm.
still I think it's an okay made movie. It's not unwatchable. To me, when I'm getting in like the twos or threes out of 10, to me it's kind of like an unwatchable kind of waste of time. Um,
Yeah.
so I
So
think
I
that's
can't
a
help but think,
smidge
I mean,
low.
obviously, that is the way, for those of you who don't know, the way the tomato meter works is if a reviewer gives it a positive score or a negative score, it gets tallied as one of the two. And
Yeah.
then that's aggregated onto whatever the percentage
Yeah,
is.
so like 30% of critics that reviewed it liked it, and the rest of them didn't, essentially.
Yeah. So it's an interesting way of doing it, but yeah, I do agree. 39% is rough. I mean,
Yeah.
when I first saw this, I probably would have gone 5 out of 10 if I'm completely honest.
Hmm.
Now I'm probably edging towards a 5 and a 6. I think
Hmm.
7 out of 10 is probably too high.
Yeah.
So on this case, I think IMDb with its 5% of 1-star ratings, which are probably almost all hashtag
Yeah.
reviews,
Yeah.
is probably the most accurate.
Probably. Yeah. And I mean, like we talked about before, it's really easy to see. Like, I wish Flash had his own movie. I wish Cyborg had his own movie. I wish Aquaman had his own, which we're gonna get at some point. Maybe sort of. Aquaman's one is already out, but the other two
Mhm.
allegedly we're gonna get at some point. But maybe a little too late, probably.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to do a Young Justice?
yeah, I don't know.
Like, because I mean, technically, the Flash this age could probably fit into
Hmm.
Young Justice.
The only thing I'd like to see is maybe I know Affleck has been very vocal saying like I don't want to play Batman again. Um, I would like to see if he could come back in like a leadership but not fighting Batman sort of thing. It's a little bit of a bummer that they've already in this universe killed off Robin based on what was that Batman v
Mhm.
Superman I think.
Yep.
Is that could be a pretty natural like handing the cowl over thing. But I would really like to see him come back.
And you
I
could have a
think,
Nightwing situation
yeah, that's
because
true.
isn't what's the old man Batman thing where I think it's Nightwing puts on the Batman suit when
Hmm.
Batman's too old for it.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be nice if we could see some of that because I think I liked Affleck as Bruce and Batman in the previous ones, but I think he really nailed it in this one, and I it would be a real shame to see him not playing this character anymore. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. All right. Before we go, do you want to rank these movies? We forgot to do that last season. Um,
What did we even do last season? I forgot.
the time loop movies.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about them, the ranking for them, because
Yeah.
that's on a mood by mood basis, if I'm honest.
Right. Right. So what's your number five movie?
Hold on. Let me recap. I've got to recap. Okay, it's Suicide Squad.
Yeah. The same for me with a bullet. I mean, I don't want to spend too much more time giving that movie more of my oxygen that I have left on this earth. So do with that what you will.
Uh,
Number four,
okay, hold on. I'm forgetting movies here. So BVS, Man of Steel,
Wonder Woman.
Suicide Squad,
Right.
Wonder Woman, and Justice League. I might go BVS. Yeah.
Okay. Like two, three, and four for me were all one and five were locked in. Two, three, and four
Yeah.
for me were like this one. So I put Man of Steel, um, largely because I think it's good, but I don't think it's as maybe as competent as the other ones by like a fraction of a percentage. Like they're all kind of tied here in the middle. So
Yeah.
nobody take these rankings personally. What's your number three?
Justice League, probably.
Yeah, same with me. Justice League with a question mark for me. Justice League.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good movie.
I'm interested to see what the changes to the movie get made.
Right. Whenever we go to DCEU season two.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at the same time, that's I'm pretty sure is a 3 hour slog that I'm not gonna have fun with. So
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty bad.
yeah,
Um the what's your number two?
Man of Steel.
Okay. Why is that?
It, because I mean I think between BVS and this, like you could go either way, to be completely honest.
Sorry.
Um,
I just looked up the runtime of
it's like 3 hours and 90 minutes or some.
no, it's 242 minutes, which is like 4 hours and 2 minutes.
There we go.
My God. Anywho,
We want to split that into two, maybe.
yeah, I don't want to take 2 or 3 weeks to watch that one. I don't know.
Parts 1 through 4.
Yeah.
I like. I think Man of Steel was a good refresh on the Superman story, and it needed it, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they're portraying it as it's not an well, it kind of is an origin story. What am I saying? It is an origin story. They fleshed out Krypton a lot more. And for those of
That's
you
true.
who don't know, part of the DC television shows is Krypton, the television show, which uses all of this movie-based tech, like the panels and the robots and stuff like
Oh,
that.
cool.
That's all in the Krypton TV show, which is kind of cool. But I think it's a pretty good introduction to him. I like the fact that they never used his music.
Yes.
Makes me laugh that they did use it in this movie, but they
Right.
did the reverse thing of toning it downwards instead of
Right.
upwards
They had the
during the
evil
Flash
version.
thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think you've got a better cast person in this whole series. Maybe Wonder Woman, but Henry Cavill he nails it so hard from the
He
beginning.
really gets it. Yeah. In the same way
Like-
that he really gets Geralt in The Witcher, like he really gets Superman here.
Yeah. It's so well done.
My number 2 is Batman v Superman. Again, sort of tied with all the other ones. I think this one sort of sneaks it out for me a little bit because I think there's some really good scenes in here. I think that scene of Bruce bumping Superman with the Batmobile and it just careening off into the wall is still a really good shot. There's some good stuff in Batman v Superman, but like almost all these movies, it has some problems, but it's kind of a fun ride throughout. Sounds like we both got number 1 with a bullet here, though, with Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Arguably the best movie of all of these movies.
Yeah, to me, I think it's not even it's so far and above the other ones. It's not even a
ridiculous.
guess. Yeah.
Like,
and I think it's because we see some flashes of it there in Justice League, but Wonder Woman is just fun. Like, it's just a good, fun movie that I had a lot of fun watching, and it was just a good time. Can't go
it's
wrong
a good
with that.
time. The soundtrack is a banger in that one as well. And, you know, Steve, Roger, Harvey, whatever his name is, Steve Trevor.
I think Steve Trevor. Chris Pine. Good Chris.
He knocks that role out the park as well.
Yeah.
Like, casting wise, that movie is about as perfectly cast as you can.
Yep.
And yet none of them feel wasted. That's the biggest thing with Man of Steel is Lois Lane feels wasted in that movie. Not drunk wasted, but she's in it for like 5 minutes, it feels like.
I have this bullet, and it's like, oh, right, we are doing, okay, you're gonna find out who has this space bullet. Okay, right. Forgot
that
about
was
that.
BVS, that wasn't even Man of Steel.
I know, but that's like, to me, that's like indicative of the issue, is sort of like, I'm Lois Lane, I have the space bullet, and it's like, right, we are, oh yeah, she is, okay, she's been off doing that. Right.
So no. I loved Wonder Woman going in to see it on open night. I still love Wonder Woman now.
Yep.
I don't think it's, my opinion of it is as high as it was coming out of the theaters that day.
Oh, sure.
But I think that's also because I went into the theaters that day with everything else before it. Like,
right, and you're like, well, let's watch this stinker.
Yeah, everything else before it staining the ink kind of thing.
Right.
And then going into it on that opening day and just coming out being like, okay, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, it's a genuinely wonderful piece of music. And again, I cannot help but get goosebumps every single time that Wonder Woman riff comes on. Every time.
It's great. I love it. Man. All right, well, on that note, that's the end of season 12. At the time of recording, the first half of the DCEU. If you are a patron at the $5 a month tier or higher over at patreon.com/E1M1. Yes, sorry. You can get the between season production meeting where Moon and I are going to go sit down and figure out what we're going to do for season 13 and go through our spreadsheet. We're going to talk about, I think Moon and I have both been making a bunch of changes as we've been going through between seasons and kind of wrapping up some of the homework we had assigned for ourselves from season 12's production meeting. So those usually turn out really well. That's a patron exclusive at the $5 tier. Go sign up, go listen to that. I think they're a pretty good time. You can find that over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
And we will see you all for season 13. Bye.
Bye.